Is the influence of Donald Trump over state-level Republican lawmakers finally hitting a brick wall? In a stunning display of internal defiance, the South Carolina State Senate has effectively tanked a push to redraw the state's congressional maps, directly ignoring a high-pressure campaign from the former president himself. Before we continue, if you want to stay on top of everything happening in U.S. politics, hit that subscribe button right now and leave a like. It really helps this channel grow and keeps you informed on the stories the mainstream media often ignores. The situation in South Carolina is a fascinating look at the friction between national party goals and the stubborn independence of state legislators. The goal from Washington was clear: take the state's map and redraw it to eliminate the lone Democratic district currently held by the powerful Jim Clyburn. For the GOP, this was seen as a necessary move to secure a stronger foothold ahead of the midterms. Trump himself took a personal interest, making his stance known on social media and reportedly calling key state leaders to ensure they fell in line. But when the rubber met the road on Tuesday, things didn't go according to plan. Lawmakers failed to reach the two-thirds majority required to push the measure through, and the vote was blocked by a coalition of all Democrats and 5 key Republicans. It wasn't just a simple disagreement. It was an act of political rebellion led by the Republican Senate Majority Leader, Shane Massey. Massey, who had been under intense pressure from national figures to change his tune, stood his ground in a way that is rarely seen in modern partisan politics. In an impassioned speech on the floor, he acknowledged the personal consequences he would likely face for standing against the party line, yet he refused to yield. His reasoning was strategic, not just emotional. Massey argued that if Republicans were to draw out Democrats entirely from the state's congressional delegation, they might be sacrificing long-term influence for short-term gains. He warned his colleagues that the next time a Democrat occupies the White House, a state with no Democratic representation would have zero leverage in federal negotiations. It was a cold, hard look at the big picture versus the win-now mentality that currently dominates the national party. This move by the South Carolina Senate is significant because it highlights a growing trend of pushback against national directives. We have seen similar scenarios play out in Indiana, Kansas, Nebraska, Kentucky, and New Hampshire, where state lawmakers resisted calls to redraw House lines. While some of those legislators paid the price at the ballot box in recent primaries, the fact remains that the appetite for being told what to do by Washington is not universal, even among Republicans. So where does this leave us? For now, the maps in South Carolina remain unchanged, which is a major blow to the goal of flipping the state's congressional balance. While Governor Henry McMaster could technically call a special session to force the issue, his office has remained quiet on the prospect, suggesting they know how difficult the political climb would be. It's a moment of high tension, exposing deep divisions within the party not over policy, but over the fundamental philosophy of how elections should be run and who gets to decide the rules of the game. The Supreme Court's recent decision to allow Alabama to redraw its maps shows that the broader redistricting war is far from over. Other states are clearly watching, and the balance of power in Congress will be decided by these exact kinds of legislative tug-of-wars. But in South Carolina, for this week at least, the old guard of the Senate has held the line. So what do you think about this? Was Shane Massey right to prioritize his conscience and long-term influence over the demands of national party leadership? Or is he essentially helping the opposition by refusing to play the game? Drop your opinion in the comments below. I read every single one, and I want to hear your take on this power struggle. This situation is still developing, and as we've seen in other states, the pressure can change the landscape in a heartbeat. Whether it's a special session or a pivot to a new strategy, we will keep you updated on every turn of the screw. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned as we track the real story behind the headlines.